This is the year one. This is the second session, okay? So before we learn about half, right? So speak English to everyone.
What?
Okay, so for this, I want to go through the exercises that we said just before, okay?
Okay.
So, and it'll give you an idea, sort of, which ones were easy, which ones are hard, and how we kind of approach these things. So, the first exercise was just about comprehension, okay? So it was just to write half in 4 different ways. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like halves and half, and then halves is like 2 on a line, and then
Yeah,
then
one on
one,
yeah.
and then I forgot the 4th one.
Yeah. So it's 0.5. Remember? So write half in 4 different ways.
Yeah, but can I see what's the 4th way? Because I really forgot.
Yeah, and this is more or less comprehension. I mean, the 4 ways were written up on the board at some point. And actually, if you look at the question sheet, there's like scattered with ways of writing half anyway. Okay, so all we had, we said we had half.
Half?
See, that's actually just here, right?
Yeah.
Half. We had 1/2, right?
Yeah. And a half.
We had 0.5, okay?
So, 0.5 is the 4th one. I already
Yeah.
forgot.
And then we have this half. This is like the verb, the half. You actually do it.
Yeah.
This is the noun, which is once you got it, you have a half. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a verb. This is a noun. Okay. So these are 4 different ways to write half. Okay. And then this is just more or less comprehension, recall. You know, like don't be too afraid if people didn't get all 4, because sometimes you don't actually understand what the question means. What does it mean to even write? Like, is this even another way to write that? It's too vague to really be that decisive. But hopefully people at least get these 2, because they're the ones that were shown. Okay. And this could take ages. You know, like people don't understand what the question means a lot of the time, and that doesn't mean they're stupid, because you know the question itself could be very easy, but if you don't understand what it means, that could really make you look dumb. Okay, so just be patient and keep going. Alright, so the next exercise could take quite a while, but it might be good to do at some point. So that was number 1. Okay, number 2 was to count by halves,
Okay.
to 20.
That makes sense.
Okay, so this is, you did that, right?
Yeah.
So, and now you can actually jazz this up quite a bit. You can actually do it with like 0.5, right? So you have to actually go through and explain what this actually means.
Yeah.
1.5 to 2.5, right? 3, 3.5, 4, 5,
I can see that already.
6.5, yeah.
I can already see that a little bit only.
Yeah. And go all the way up to 20, okay? Well, you can go up to 10, or you can go up to 15. You really.
Or you can go to up to 100.
Right. We're just. Right.
Did you forget something to count to 1,000?
No, not counting to 1,000.
It's too much. You can't count to that.
Okay, and then there was this other way of writing it. We're gonna have 0,
half,
1, 1.5.
And to get to 100.
Yeah.
No.
So not only does this this is almost like a way of defining what these numbers are, right? Because if we think of these as numbers and we're counting, like we didn't have these numbers before. We only had 0, 1, 2, 3. Now we have the numbers in between, right?
This makes very much sense.
Yeah.
How is 1 next to them?
Okay, so then Okay, so now we actually have these numbers. We can try and add them and multiply them. Okay. Now that could be, see, that was on the first exercise sheet, but it looks like it's, well, first of all, the first exercise took too long, and this one might be hard enough to do for the next exercise. Okay.
Okay.
But we have to explain what these exercises mean.
Okay.
Okay, so for 3 and 4, we have to add some of these numbers up. Okay.
Okay.
So, what do I mean? So, for number 3, we'll just take. So basically, take 6 pairs of these numbers and add them up. Okay. So there's obviously some discretion involved. 6 pairs. Yeah.
爸爸看那个电脑是黑了。No, talk English to Daddy.
Yeah. So take 6 pairs of numbers and add them. Okay. All right. Pay attention.
But I say English to everyone.
Pay attention. Okay, so take 6 pairs of numbers. So for example, I'll take 1.5, okay,
Yeah.
and 6.5, okay. 1.5, yeah, plus 6.5.
Yeah.
You guys tell me what that is.
Don't really know.
Yeah, it's not easy, huh?
Yeah.
So I guess what we have to do is figure out what this means, right?
Yeah.
So 1.5 is here, right? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We want to plus 6.5, okay? So we want to, so if we can plus 1, we're just kind of, can you see if we plus half, right? That's plus 0.5, you get to 2, yeah?
Yeah.
If you plus another 0.5, which is 1, you get to 2.5, yeah?
Yeah.
It's plus 1.
Yeah. But I have a really good plus too. It's also you can do a plus up and then minus 1.
Oh, yeah, if you plus 2, you can minus 1, yeah?
You can minus something, right?
Yeah, but let's just do a plus now because we're trying to get from 1.5, okay?
Yeah.
And we're trying to plus 6.5. So we're going to go move up 6.5.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How do we do that? See, if we move up by 1, we get to 2.5, right?
Yeah.
We move up by another 1, which is 2, right?
Yeah.
We get to 3.5.
Okay.
See that?
See that.
So can you see that if you move up by 1, it's kind of just the same as counting on this first number here, right? It's something 0.5.
Yeah.
So then this is kind of like, maybe you can think of this as like
Why are
1
doing
plus 6
interesting for
plus
Michael?
0.5 plus 0.5.
Why are doing interesting for Michael?
What thing?
And interesting for Michael.
Interesting.
It's saying the halving.
Yeah.
Halving. Like the halves or something.
Yeah, so you can do it like that, okay? See, because if you're adding 6, right? What's 6 plus 1?
6 plus 1 is 7.
7, right? So that'll get you to 7.5. You see
Okay.
that? So, and then you have to add another 0.5.
I get it now. So this is like the plus, like it's not point thing, but it's actually a point thing. So you have to add the lower number before. Let's just explain that later.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess maybe it'd be easier if we use a smaller number. But can you see? So we have 7. 1 plus 6 is 7, right?
Yeah.
With the 0.5 is 7.5.
Yeah, but still.
And then you have to add another 0.5.
Yeah, but
right? What
now
do
I
you get?
get it. So you have to do the plus with the thing before 5. Right, like on behind of the 5, and then when you stick the.
Oh, you mean this
behind-
number here? Yeah, before the 5.
and also the 6, and there's a 6 and 1 supposed to be going together, and then they make to 7.
Yeah. So you make these to 7, right?
Yeah.
And then you got to do another 0.5 and another 0.5. Okay?
Okay.
So another way of saying this is the 7 plus 0.5
Yeah.
plus 0.5. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
So what's 7 plus 0.5? See, we were just counting like that before, right?
Yeah.
7 plus 0.5 is just the next one. 7.
So we got to 7.5. Huh?
Yeah, so this is 7.5, right?
Now
Plus 0.5.
that must be 7.5 still though.
No. If you count to the next one, right?
We'll count to the next one, so that means it's 8.5.
Not quite. So if we were counting here, right? 6.5, 7, 7.5.
Yeah.
What would be next?
I don't really know.
You wrote them all down before, remember?
Yeah, but I did 7.5, 7, 7.8.
No, you didn't.
I think Michael knows them.
Mm-hmm.
10.5.
Yeah, so we didn't write the next one down in the board, but you wrote it on your piece of paper. You did it all by yourself. So plusing 0.5 is just, it's what we're doing when we're counting, okay?
Yeah. But Michael should learn about 10.5. No, I already did 10.5. But
Alright, so
more after the 7.5.
what's after 7.5?
But the body also means the egg. I really think it's a little bit hard. Okay, now we're going to excuse me.
Yes.
I think I finished my food, but I didn't finish my milk.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, then go get some more.
Okay, now.
But don't interrupt, okay? Go get some more.
Okay, now can we go keep going?
Yeah, we are keep going. I haven't stopped.
Okay.
So what's 7.5 plus 0.5? I guess this is the question we're doing.
Well, this is a little bit more harder.
Well, I mean, it's not more hard than this because I think this is actually easy because you've done it before.
Hmm?
Okay, what's 5.5 plus 0.5? Yeah, so the problem is you don't understand the question. So we're saying that if you write them all, if you count to 20 by half, right?
Yeah.
Every time you count, okay, you're adding 0.5.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is plus 0.5. Okay, so that means 0 plus 0.5 is 0.5. Yeah. 0.5 plus 0.5, yeah, is 1.
Okay.
Okay. 1 plus 0.5 is 1.5.
Okay.
1.5 plus 0.5 is 2. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So plusing 0.5 is just the next number. Okay?
Or it's like jumping to the next number.
Yeah, so what is the next number after 7.5? So 6.5 goes to 7. That's
Oh, 7! And then it goes to, wait, what? No, 8 and it goes to 8.5.
yeah, so what's the one that's next? What's the one it goes to?
8.
8. Excellent. And then you said the next one is what?
Is 8.5.
8.5, okay. Well, we don't need that yet, okay? We just need to know that this plus 0.5 is 8, right?
Yeah.
Because then this is that, right? 7.5 plus 0.5 is 8,
Okay.
okay? So now we know 1.5 plus 6.5 is 8, okay? Okay, so that was a little bit hard. Maybe we can do something easier. What if I have like 2 plus 1.5? You know? 2 plus 1.5. 2 plus 1.5.
Oh, 2 plus 1. That little makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I guess we've forgotten about this, and a bit of that you never understood in the first place, right? So after this whole thing here, we only really understood what happened at the last step.
And I'm going to tell something first. So the 5 on the front, that means the 2 5 was the point thing behind it. It's a little bit not make sense if you add a 5 and 5. That means you can't make it to anything. You can only make it to a 10.
Yeah, so that's when you make it to the next one. That's why when you have 5 and 5, you make it to a 10, right? That's why you get a 1, see? That's a 7, and then you get a 1, it's 8. So when you 5 and 5, right, make a 1. So 5 and 5 normally would make a 10, right? So 0.5 and 0.5 make a 1. Yeah?
But you can make many numbers when you do the ones behind 5. You can only do one number when you use the 5 to add. So it's just 10. You can add 10.
Not 10, 1. Okay.
1.
Yeah. So when you have 0.5s, they always make it change by 1. That's true. Okay. Okay. So I think you're losing a bit of your focus.
But
This is getting late.
Are you supposed to be using a web pencil and doing it for my code?
Yes. I'll use whatever color I like.
Oh, but now that's because it's learning, so you can't choose your color.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's 2 plus 1.5, okay? Okay, so there's varying ways we can think about this, okay? But how did we think about it before? Yeah, you never learned that, right? Because you listened, but you didn't really remember it or pay attention. Yeah, so remember we were saying if we count the 2 by 1, we can add the 2 and the 1 first, right? So you get 2 plus 1, right? And then you can plus the 0.5 separately, yeah? So that's one way of doing it, okay? Or you can think of 1.5, you can try to count by 0.5, 0.5 3 times from 2.
When the arrows are there, it's like when you're counting, you're jumping and counting, you're jumping to the next number.
Yeah. Okay, so this is actually going to be a very hard exercise for you. So this could take a whole session. Okay, but remember, okay, once we got to here, okay, so I think you should at least be good to do the last step because that's what you learned, okay? The other things you kind of went by you, okay? So that's 3, right? And you have 3 plus 0.5, okay? What's 3 plus 0.5? Yeah, but this is the same as what you did here, right? So that's something you should be able to do again, even though I know you can't do these other things. Hey, you can do it. 3.5.
Stop!
Excellent. Okay. So we're gonna have to take some time to really work on that. Okay. We seem to get the last step, and then this is not the only way to do this addition. It depends on how we interpret these things. Okay. But okay. So see, taking 6 pairs of numbers, that's 2 pairs of numbers, 1 and 2, right? There's still another 4 we have to do for exercise. Yeah. Alright. And then the very last thing, the very last exercise, which may take another session to do. Okay.
You can keep learning or do a learning exercise, or you can do real exercise, right?
Yeah, we can do some physical exercises. That's what you mean. Okay, so look, the last one here. How long have we taken? We've taken about 20 minutes already. Okay, so this is gonna hopefully not take that long. So this is like a mini times table with like half. Okay.
Yeah.
So the exercise is with the times table.
Also, you have one big a times table and cut it in half and both of
Yeah, we jumble the numbers up. Okay.
I think that was our exercise, right?
Yeah. And we're gonna times them by half, right? So obviously that's kind of a little bit hard right now.
Yeah.
But we should explain what it means to times something by half. Well, we talked about that a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
So for example, let's do like
You don't know
half times 3.
times
Okay.
No.
Half times 3, yeah? So can you think about that for a second? Half times 3.
Something I don't know. What's the time?
Michelle, this is not your class, okay? So can you just stop distracting?
This is actually not my class. This is my house. Well, what is it? Our club. Not
Okay, so just pay attention, okay?
Well, why do my house have to work on Monday?
You're meant to be at school today.
Oh, God. I'm super silly. Because I'm a Schwagwa.
Okay. Okay, so half times 3, right? Remember what we were saying? We're saying half times 3, what we think of that as meaning, right? Is half of 3, okay? If you have 3 things and we halve them, okay? That's what we mean by half times 3, right? So if we have like 3 triangles, right? Yeah? And we halve that, yeah? How many triangles would we have each?
2.
No. Well, yes, you'd have 2, but okay, let's not do triangles. Let's do let's do circles. Okay? Have 3 circles.
3 circles, and then there's 3 circles. We have 1 each, and 1 if we don't have, so we can cut it in semicircles. So we have
Okay.
1 a semicircle and 1 circle.
Yeah, so we have like 1.5 circles each, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you have each person has 1 circle and a half a circle, right? A semicircle. So that's 1.5 circles, right?
Yeah.
So another way to say that is 1.5.
Yeah.
Yeah? Pay attention, okay?
Okay.
Because when you say yeah, that doesn't mean you understand it, okay? Because you're not understanding in the way I want you to, okay? So half, 1.5 circles, okay? Another way of saying that is 1.5, yeah? Okay, because the way I want you to understand it is in such a way that when I tell you what half times 5, okay, then you'll know what to do, right? If you don't do that, then you're not understanding this the right way, okay? Make sense? All right, so you can see how we halve the 3 to get 1.5, right? Now, how do we get half of 5?
Half of 5.
Yeah, exactly. Your first reaction is I don't know, which is not right, okay? So it should be to try and use this process, the same thing here, okay? To get the answer for that. Alright?
Okay.
So what is it? How do we do it?
I'm using it and then I'm gonna think it. But you actually did the wrong semicircle for Michael. Yeah, it's just the accident. It's just the accident. I'm still thinking how I'm using that. I still don't know how to do that.
Yeah, but what can we do? We can...
Wait. 10?
No, it has to be less than 5, okay? So 10 is obviously wrong.
I thought it's gonna be the 2 of the times.
Oh, yeah, well the 2 helps, okay?
And the 1 helps?
So remember what we're doing, right? We're halving 5 things, okay?
Okay.
So that's something you've forgotten about this already. Okay. So these things are related. Okay. That's the important thing. Yeah. If you can't connect these two things, then you haven't learned this thing. Okay.
Oh.
So if it doesn't make you think of these 5 things, okay, then you're not thinking about the right things.
Okay.
And how do we split these 5 into 2?
Into 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit hard and it doesn't make sense too.
Yeah.
It's hard, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard. Yes, it is.
But you mean why it's saying
But you can still try. Okay.
Or you can.
I have 5 things, and we want to split them between you and me. Okay.
Or you can. Wait. I think this is a little bit more saying do 1 for 1 people. There's 3 people. We each have 2, and 1 people has 1 thing.
Oh, well, yeah. So if you split between 3 people, we can have 2, 2, and 1, right?
Yeah, so
But we want to split between 2 people. This is halving. Okay. How do we split it? 5 oranges or 5 apples or 5 circles between 2 people?
You can cut 1 in each.
Okay, you can cut 1.
But there's 5. If you cut 5, it won't split to 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit hard. And I think that this doesn't make sense a little bit.
No, how do we split 3?
Split 3?
Yeah.
That's because I know what's 3 plus 3. It's 6.
No. It has nothing to do with 3 plus 3. We just had 3 circles before and we split them, remember?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're being distracting. Can you just not say anything over there? This is not easy, so we have to get through this without your distraction, okay?
Okay.
Remember we just split 3 things, right?
Yeah.
How do we do that?
3 things. We did this, so we cut one thing, and then 1 each for us. So when we cut 1 thing, that means we each has 2 things, right? Thingies.
Yeah. We cut 1 thing in half, right? And then we split these 2 in half, right?
Yeah.
So we have 1.5 each, yeah? Yeah?
Yeah.
So how do we split 5 things?
5 things. We can split 1 up, and then we have 3 stuff. Right? We can like cut 1
Okay, cut 1.
to
Yeah.
a semicircle,
Yeah.
and we both each have 3. Right?
Have 3.
Yeah, we both have 3 when we cut it to semicircle. Like we have 1 semicircle and 2 of the circles.
Yeah, so we have 3 things, right? But we have 2.5 circles, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we have, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
So this is the process is the same as for the 3 things, right?
Yeah.
It's like an analogy. Actually, it's also you can also even think of this as 3 things and 2 things, right?
Okay.
You can split 2 things, one each, right? That's
Yeah.
2 things, yeah? You can split them 1 each.
Okay.
And then you can split the 3 things like 1.5, 1.5, right?
Yeah.
So this plus that's what you get here, right? And that plus that is what you get here. So you can actually directly use the previous split to split this as well. Okay? So what we're saying is 5, half of 5, okay, is 2.5. Okay?
Okay.
Another way of writing 2.5 is 2.5. That makes sense?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't completely make sense, I know, even though you say it does.
I just didn't know.
Yeah, well, it's not about knowing, okay? This is the point. Okay, maths is not about knowing, it's about figuring out. It's about relating. Okay?
Okay.
If you know it, well, this is what knowing is like, okay? If half of 5 is 2.5, what's half of 5? Oh, it's 2.5, you just told me. Okay. And then I said half of 7 is 3.5. Tell me what half of 7 is. And you have to say 3.5. That's pointless. Okay? You have to be able to figure out what half of 7 is without me having told you what half of 7 is. That's the point. Okay? Does that make sense? If I tell you what half of 7 is and then ask you, okay, that's just testing if you remember or not. Yeah? That's not maths. Okay? And it's stupid. Alright? But if I tell you what half of 3 is, and I tell you what half of 5 is, you can figure out what half of 7 is. Do you understand? Yeah. So that's kind of what the next exercise is. It's kind of sort of figuring out some of these things, relating it to the numbers we wrote down before. But you can kind of see it's going to be quite challenging. Alright? And that's the 30 minutes.